Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 with Germany, done very small. Episode 4, a battleship battle. What the battle generator has given us. An enemy coastal raid in the Helgoland bight, so close to my bases, so my destroyers should turn up. And the battle size is large, which is good. Large battles offer large rewards, if only I can find a way of sinking lots of French ships. Sorry, I was thinking of something technical there, but sinking lots of French ships is the purpose of the game. Let's accept this battle and see what we're given. So here we are, both of our battleships, 6 destroyers, and the Augusta Victoria. So almost all of our ships that aren't on trade protection or trapped overseas. I'm expecting to find the French deploying a similar force. The time is 8:50 in the morning, but it is the middle of winter, so we only have 8 hours and 15 minutes to do battle. The battle generator has given us 1,000 minutes to fight with. Obviously that gets extended if you're in the middle of a battle. And the range is a modest 22,000 at the moment. I mean, it's a dull day in March. If we zoom out, we'll see we are just to the northwest of Helgoland itself and not far from our own bases. So if any of our ships get damaged, we can have a reasonable hope that we can bring them back to base. I know I said that last time, but you know, we live in hope. So let's advance the game and see what we find. Now, because it's a coastal raid, part of the battle is actually to find the enemy. So I'm going to have to zigzag around and see if I can bump into them, or wait until we get some reports from other ships in the area that might give us a clue as to where they are. Turn them to the south and look down here. It's a popular vector, and then I'll turn it towards Helgoland. And then back up. I'm assuming they're not in this area. Ah, boom. So that's good to see. We zoom in. We ignore the transport over here. Here they are. I'm just going to turn the Brandenburg and the Weissenburg to meet this ship, and also close in the Augusta Victoria under my control. There we go. It's set to scout at the moment, which normally would give you a scouting line, but since there's only one cruiser, it's a bit redundant. So instead, out of the missions, I'm going to put her to independent. I might later join her on to the end of the battle line, because her speed is the same and 11-inch guns are the same. But just for the moment, I'll use her superior position to try and give 2 vectors. So whether this ship turns this way or that way. Okay, it's turned to the northeast. I'm going to ramp up the speed of the battleships to 20 knots. Ah, that's an interesting problem. So the good news is we're currently only seeing 1 ocean class. There may be more.
Océan.
The ocean class is a bit chunky. It's got 12-inch guns. We've only got 11. And they've got 10 inches of armor on their belt and turret, whereas the Weissenburg battleships only have 7 inches. Ooch. And the Augusta Victoria has only 5 inches. We are 2 knots faster, and there are currently 3 of us. I'm going to take the battleships that way and the Augusta Victoria that way. I'm going to drop the speed of the Augusta Victoria down a couple of knots to give the Weissenburg and the Brandenburg an opportunity to catch up. And there they started shooting each other. They're at a range of 9,000 yards. So that is disadvantageous to the Augusta Victoria. We have a look at the gun data for 11-inch guns. You'll see that its penetration is only 3.7 inches or 3.8 at this kind of distance, and only goes to a maximum of 4.7. So we should not be penetrating the main armor scheme of the Ocean-class battleship.
Océan.
They, on the other hand, are close to challenging ours. So I'm just going to straighten out the Augusta Victoria and just advance it a minute at a time. Battleships aren't really in range, out at 10,400. Mercifully, no one's hitting anything, and the battleships open fire. Now, there will be a negative modifier for that. That's impressive. The Brandenburg is out of ammunition for guns that bear. They haven't even started. However, that speaks to the old gun turret disabled, the bane of all turn-of-the-century pre-dreadnoughts. It will come back. The Augusta Victoria is now down to 7,000 yards. I'm going to open up the range a little bit, and I'm going to open up her speed. The Weissenborg has been hit. Okay. However, now the ocean is retreating. So I'm going to see if the Weissenborg and the Brandenburg can't get to the port side of the ocean. Oh yes. I've just noticed there's a stream of destroyers popping in. So let's take this off AI and see if we can drive them off, or at least distract them, rather than having them take a pop at our battleships, which would be most unwelcome. I'm not liking this one at all. So I'm going to turn together and get them to show their sterns to the destroyers, whilst these guys happily misunderstand everything. Okay, that seems to have distracted the French destroyers away from the battleship. So back to line ahead and back over here. I'm going to put these destroyers back under AI control because I need to focus just now. So the good news is that the ocean is kind of going in the wrong direction. If we zoom out, home is over here, not going that way. So I don't have to super worry about that. I just have really shocking positioning at the moment. Not sure why the Augusta Louise isn't able to go at full speed at the moment. Perhaps it takes a little while for their stokers to crank themselves up. I have to say, having read accounts of these battles, the life of a stoker shoveling coal at fever pitch in order to bring the boilers up to full heat and drive the engines at full power, sounds hellish. So, as often happens, this is a little bit of a chase. I'm going to put the lock on so I don't have to keep on moving. And the lock's really useful because it really shows you if you're catching up. So if I just leave my cursor there, you can see that ever so slowly and ever so slightly, we are catching the ocean. Hooray! And the ocean opens fire on Augusta Louise again. And they take a superstructure hit and a secondary hit. Now, in a way, I don't mind too much, so long as I don't lose, because it just gives a chance to allow the battleships to catch up further. So I'm just following around, and hopefully you can see down here I don't have my rear turrets engaged. It's always a bad idea not to do that because it's pretty easy to run out of ammunition with the front turrets there. The rear turret has started to fire. Likewise here, I'm going to straighten up the Augusta Louise. And the Weissenborg has hit it. These hits are only with 6-inch guns, but given the strength of the Ocean's armor, 6-inch gun seems pretty good. And an 11-inch hit on the on the Ocean. Well done, Weissenborg. And more hits. And again, straighten up the Victoria Louise. The range is only down to 5,000 yards. I don't want to get too close. What I would quite like is for one of these destroyer divisions to just take some time to get ahead and get into a firing position so that then we're really boxing in the Ocean. Her own destroyers seem to have gone somewhere else. Yep, they're over there. Well, good for them. I hope they enjoy their little journey. Ah, right. So now the Ocean is trying to cut inwards. So time for the destroyers to discourage that. I think they are discouraged. Straighten up the range with the battleships a little bit, whilst still trying to keep the arcs straight. Bring the Victoria Louise around. Let me just see. So these are at 8,700, so not an impossible range. Nice if it was a bit closer. If we go in to the ships and have a little look, the hit chance is 0.87, not taking my breath away. The only one I can't really improve anything. The target turning, I can't help for that. 3 ships firing, it does impose a thing, but I'd rather 3 ships firing than 1 ship firing. And the rest are just givens. The rate of fire is pretty slow. The hit chance for the secondary armament is 1.44, so that's substantially better. And over for the Victoria Louise, the hit chance is 2.3, and strangely worse for the secondary guns at the moment. So the Ocean is down to 10 knots. It says light damage, but 10 knots is quite a relaxed speed for the middle of the battle. I'm going to bring down the Victoria Louise and the battleships down to 14 knots. At least they run away out of control. I'm going to go max with the destroyers and see if we can't get within some firing range. The change of colour of the screen is because there's light rain, and so the rain has gone down. The range has gone down to 20,000, but we're well within that at the moment. I'm going to close a little bit more aggressively. This will probably mask the rear guns. Just straighten up ever so slightly. I might take the speed back up a little bit because I just want them get them to broadside. Slightly take up this. And see what we do with these destroyers. Obviously G8 has taken a little bit of a tumble there. So I'm going to detach G8. No point gratuitously losing her. Detaching always puts it on automatic control, but the AI is always shockingly bad. I'm going to take the speed down to something casual and let her leave the scene bravely. Just failing to speed up the Augusta Louise. So let's see if we are in any position. Nope. Nope. The range of destroyers at this time are so terrible. Chewing through my destroyers here. So the V5 has gone independent on its own. So let's bring down its speed. And then finally see if the G7 can do anything. Oops, sorry V5. Nope, G7 hasn't done well either. Well, credit to the ocean, its anti-destroyer armament has worked very, very well. Or I've been really rubbish. I have been a bit rubbish. Trying to chase a battleship at close range from behind to try and get a firing angle is always tricky. So with these destroyers, I'm going to behave myself and I'm going to put them onto maximum speed and see if we can't get a decent fire position up here, well ahead. So as the Augusta Victoria is chewing through its ammunition at a fair rate, I'm not sure it's causing many hits. On the other hand, it doesn't seem to have suffered unduly itself. 12 medium hits, and on the battleships, 1 heavy and 1 medium, and nothing for the Brandenburg. So yeah. Oh, squad max is 19. I imagine those poor stokers are tiring. So, just a question of continuing to make the ocean suffer. 6-inch guns, but it's hitting a lot back. More 6-inch, but trading blow for blow. Certainly not an easy peasy. Let's turn the destroyers north. Hello, there's medium damage now, but still managing to hit rather than be hit. So I'm just going to turn around everyone, I think, actually. Bit of a gentle turn to follow. And Weissenberg's turret's jammed. I'm turning these bit by bit rather than a really jaunty angle, because if you do that, they lose a lot of speed. Oh. And I didn't expect that, but here's dusk already. So, good lord. 8 hours of battle. It surely chews up quickly. Range is then down to 2,500. Ah, there they are. Or some of them. And the French destroyers have managed to suddenly pop up. Let's zoom in here. We might go for the ram or something. Ooh. This is very tight. Let's see if we can torpedo anybody. I mean, obviously, we might get torpedoed ourselves. Yes! Oh, yes! Let's fire that. And maybe the Brandenburg too? Nope, out of arc there, but at 900 yards, they've got one for what they think the French destroyers might go, but I'm not tempted by that. Okay, since we've been able to loose off a torpedo, I'm going to get them to both turn away quickly, and we get a hit! Oh! And it's sunk! Boom! Well, I am surprised. I mean, in a nice way. I did not expect that. Right. Time to get these guys out of the way of any French destroyers, because I do not want this great victory to be tarnished. It means... Oh, go away. It means for a start that our blockade against France is going to stay absolutely rock solid, which is nice. I'm going to bring the speeds down to cruise. We don't have to be rushing around. Just go get this little guy and head him down to the Jade. And let's just see, oops, if we can't run out the clock. Bring that back down. Doesn't really matter where they're going, so long as they're going in a different direction. Yes. So let's see what we have. Light damage on one of our battleships, light damage on our armoured cruiser, 2 destroyers, and an auxiliary, presumably one of the merchant ships, sunk in exchange for their battleship. I'm very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Thank you very much. So let's take a look and see what happened there. Bring this into the center. So the Suffren, let's look at its log. These things are quite hard to read, so I have a spreadsheet. So here's our opponent. Big guns, big armor, and let's see what happened to her. Blue is where she is hitting us, and the pinks and the reds are where we are hitting her. She starts off pretty well, gets her aft turret jammed. Turrets jam all the time in this time. We start to hit back, crucially with an 11-inch critical hit on the bridge. I imagine that that's when she slowed down for the first time. Followed by further hits from the 6-inch and from the 11-inch guns. You'll notice most of them do not penetrate. That's one of the exceptions. She then fires a lot at all my various destroyers, giving them a pretty rough time, and also at the Augusta Victoria. And the Augusta Victoria manages to trade back hit for hit. Then starts up with the battleships being picked on, and again trading. And as you can see, they're almost all secondary hits. This is why it's so important not to get beguiled by the big guns on a pre-dreadnought, because they don't really do the most damage. Then just at the end, we did start to pummel her, and there's another 6-inch penetration, and also here, whoops, there. And then the biggie. Torpedo magazine hit, the ship blows up. Our torpedo hit her in her torpedo flat, and boom. I was a bit lucky. I'll concede that. I was being adventurous, shall we say, and we got lucky. For the 2 German destroyers, the damage was very similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6-inch gun hits. That's more than enough to sink them. They're really not designed to take that sort of punishment, and it was my own folly or trying to get into a torpedo position from the rear. Far better to come from the bow rather than the stern. Sorry about that, guys. Still, a good victory. Interestingly, for the other ships, the Weissenborg takes 3 hits and 5 medium, and the Augusta Victoria takes 1 heavy and 19 medium. In comparison, the Suffren has 4 heavy hits and 24 mediums, so that torpedo just completely made all the difference. And that's it, really. Good victory. Everything I could possibly want for. Let's close this out. Shut this down. Yep. Here we are. Brandenburg. Short-range ships cannot make strategic moves during warfare. Wartime. I didn't think I was. 60 points for blockade, which is curious. Let's just have a little look at the map. Zoom in and go up to Northern Europe and turn the bars on. Oh, well, you can see we are the grey and the French are the reds. So we should really be quite comprehensively in charge. We have 30 points and the French have 14, which is fine. We need another ship on foreign station because we're still minus 15 for reasons I don't quite understand. So I'm going to have to put another destroyer onto foreign station. There we go. It's because the Brandenburg is on foreign station and she turned up for a battle, and the AI obviously tried to move her to a different sea area, because when you're on foreign station, the AI can move you anywhere it likes, often with odd logic, shall we say politely. But because she's short range, the AI couldn't complete that move. That's a bit cunning, actually. That sort of gives you the best of both worlds. With a short-range battleship at wartime, you can put her on foreign station and the AI can't move her off to God knows where. That's something to bear in mind. So, I'm going to save the game at the moment and end this turn here, relaxed in the knowledge that I'm now in the driving seat of this war with France. My unrest is low. We've not aggravated the Royal Navy any more than necessary. We still have our alliance with Italy. They've contributed nothing, obviously, but you never know. One day they might come good with a little bit of extra goodies. Everyone else seems fine, and all I have to do is sort of count down the clock and wipe out the rest of the French Navy and collect the victory at the end of it that must surely be mine. Surely. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next episode of this Rule the Waves 2 with Germany, done very, very small. Cheers, and stay safe.